Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Let us know if you want.
Or don't. It's up to you.
Short answers only. No, I'm just kidding.
So, Meg, how was your day yesterday? What'd you do?
It was good. Went to Ohammock Marsh. They have this little thing where you bring like little nets and little pails and you like catch little snails and water bugs and stuff like that. Here's a picture of what we caught and then you put them back after. But yeah, so that was nice.
Cute.
But about you, what'd you do yesterday?
I chilled. We had game night with the kids. I made chili and hot dogs.
Oh, but you make it, right, you make it without beans.
Yeah, beanless. We had chili cheese dogs, chili cheese fries, and we had game night. We played Super Mario Party, and then kids went to bed, and me and the husband had game night.
Cute.
Then I went to bed.
What'd you guys play?
We played Super Mario Party. I kicked his ass.
Nice.
I beat him every time. He never wins. And we have this other game, Tapple, something. Press the thing. It's like an adult version where it's like hottest actors, and then it's like A, B, C, D all the way around. And it's timed, and you have to press a letter and then say something before the timer.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's quite fun. We'll play it next time.
It sounds fun.
We'll play it next time you guys come over. It's a thinker. It's pressure because you can hear the.
Yeah, I'm so bad at it sucks thinking of things under pressure.
On the spot. Yeah, me too. It's not easy for me. My brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Any horror? You gonna tell me a cool story today or what?
Yeah. So I'm gonna actually tell you several.
Okay.
But I'm gonna start with one, and this is gonna be a little bit different than a lot of the stories that I've talked about in the past. So the main theme of today is going to be people who went missing in remote locations like national forests and felt that something strange happened to them.
Okay.
And or people who just had weird experiences in national forests or remote areas.
Okay.
What inspired this episode was someone suggested to me that I check out this researcher called David Paulides.
Okay.
And I did. He has collected a lot of really interesting stories. I am not going to be talking about any stories where people are still missing unless it was like from the 1800s. I think that some of David's opinions are correct. I like some of his stuff. I do think that he jumps to
conclusions.
Yeah, and he doesn't say it.
Right.
But like he's written quite a few books. They're all missing 411 books.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are a lot of stories that he told where I felt like the person who was either missing, deceased, or never found, all of the other options were not completely exhausted. I don't know. Like I've kind of talked about this before.
Yeah.
Where if someone goes missing, I think everything that it could potentially be, whether that be an animal predator, whether that be a person predator, needs to be completely exhausted before you can even
jump to paranormal or
right.
Yeah.
So he's not necessarily jumping to that, but he is definitely presenting it in that way, I feel.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Which I feel can sometimes be harmful, especially for families
I was just going to say
don't have closure or that person is still missing or even if found deceased. I mean, like.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, not all families believe in the paranormal.
Yeah.
And like some, if you're missing a loved one or they are found and you don't quite know exactly what happened. And then you have people all over the internet telling the world that it was something paranormal. It's insensitive.
So I feel that way too, but also at the same time, I recognize that true believers, like say that I'm like, I know for a fact that aliens are real. I've been abducted by them. Okay. That's not true, but say it is.
Yeah.
I can see how that person would be like, no, this needs to be looked into. So I do get it on some levels.
Say it like that though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't rule it out. But
right.
We can't assume.
Right. But then also on like playing the devil's advocate for a minute. If we find out in like 30 years from now that aliens have been abducting people and whatever, then we'll be like, oh, I wish we looked into that more. Right. So it's like, it's a double-edged knife. It's a double-edged sword, but I always like to stick on the side of what we know. And especially when it comes to children, a lot of these situations that he talks about, I am not convinced that it's not a human predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to children, I'll usually just make that assumption.
Yeah. The first story I'm going to talk about today is about a girl who went missing in 2001. Her name is Haley Zega. Sorry if I said that wrong, Haley. But I do want to kind of also mention how I know about her.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's actually not because of David Pilates. So a year or more ago, her TikTok came up on my For You page. I was death scrolling. She was basically saying, I went missing when I was 6 years old. An imaginary friend helped me survive it, and I'll get into it more. And she did say, this person told my story. I'm happy that at least they just stuck to facts, because most people embellish. But also, she wishes people would ask her, because everybody's talking about her, but not talking to her. For some reason, I was just scrolling. I didn't follow her back then or anything. It was just, but it just stuck. It stuck. Yeah. Her story stuck, especially not because it was a spooky one or whatever. It was just because of how she spoke about being talked about and the frustration of people embellishing her story.
That must be so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't do anything about it either.
I've spoken to her, and we hopefully want to have her on to tell the full story. So I'm just going to tell a little bit of it. So then when I was listening to some of these stories that David Pilates talks about, he told her story.
Okay.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, I know who that is. So
yeah.
Anyways, so I'm going to tell her story, and then I'm going to tell some stories of people who have reported some truly strange things as well.
What?
So when Haley was 6 years old, it was 2001, she was on a hike with her grandparents. They went and saw this waterfall. The hike is called Whitaker Point, I believe, in the Ozarks. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful. She was tired, and she kind of sat down and said, I'm not moving. She wanted to be carried, but it's a pretty intense hike. There's a lot of trees, especially at the time of the year.
Yeah, lots of foliage.
Yes. And so her grandparents could not carry her. And they kind of did the thing where they're like, okay, well, you can stay here, but we're going. But they got just a little bit too far, I guess, and she couldn't see them or hear them. So she tried to find them, but, went down a different path and became a missing person. So she wound up being missing for 52 hours at 6 years old. And I have stories that I'm going to be telling Jess that she hasn't heard about today. But we both listened to Haley's story. This was a fucking smart 6-year-old.
So
I'm shocked.
I have a 6-year-old right now.
Yeah.
No. There's no way.
Yeah.
My kids would freak out.
Yeah. But also, this is a great opportunity to say, talk to your kids about this kind of thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I would have been good back then too.
Yeah. Because we kind of grew up here in Canada.
Manitoba specifically. Very highly wooded.
Yes. Right.
And it's thick.
Yes.
Woods. It's thick.
Yes.
You have to know where you're going.
And here, pretty much anywhere that you go into a forest, if you keep going, you're not going to eventually hit a town or city, or you're going to get more lost. It's the same with national forests.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say in the States, eventually you'll hit a town or something like that. And I'm sure that that's true for a lot of different places. But when it comes to national forests or Canada, you got to sit down and wait if you're lost, right?
Yes, 100%.
But anyway, she was 6, so she came up with a plan that was pretty fucking smart.
Very smart.
I'm not exactly sure at what exact moment, but pretty soon after she became lost, there was an imaginary friend. And that is how she described this girl.
Alicia.
Her name was Alicia.
Yeah.
And this was Haley's imaginary friend. And she helped Haley through this 52 hours. So Haley's plan was she was going to follow the river, and that would eventually lead to a bridge, which would eventually lead to a road. So smart.
Very smart.
Mind blown.
That's very smart. Yeah.
Not only that, but she was seeing helicopters fly overhead. She figured they might be looking for her. Her goal, again, was getting to a rock in the middle of the river and staying on that rock. She said she waved, she threw sand. They didn't see her, but she could see that much. Fuck.
No, I can't.
That would be... I can't even, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
She also says, though, she wasn't scared. She mentions, because of the age she was at, she was 6 years old. She was almost too young to realize the severity of the situation.
Yeah, she was right in that sweet spot.
Right. But she didn't eat and she didn't drink for this 52 hours, she does say.
Well, that's also good.
Yeah.
Because imagine being that young. Most kids going to see little berries,
right.
You're going to see stuff, and they might think to eat it. But if she's that age, you know what I'm just remembered? Remember that commercial? Don't you put it in your mouth.
Yeah. Well, and she does mention she was scared. She didn't feel like it was safe to eat or drink because she was was like, I know there's some poison
Well,
shit out
back
here.
then, those commercials,
Yeah.
like I remember, those
Yeah.
ran at
Yeah.
that time
Yeah.
constantly.
So true.
Back when we were that age.
Haley, do you remember? Were you thinking of that song?
Was that it?
So she also says she's the cautionary tale, and I like that. But anyways, these two men ended up finding her. She was, I believe she said 6 miles away from where she had went missing, which is beyond the parameters of what searchers will typically search, because they're like, the 6-year-old's not going to make it that far. And this is another point where I'm feeling like in a lot of the cases that David Paulides talks about, that he maybe underestimates children a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I do feel like there's a little bit of underestimating here.
Yeah.
And people in general, like, you know, what if there's that mother who lifted a car off her children?
Yeah. And kids are not like we are. They don't get tired as quick. They have more energy.
Yeah, that's so true.
They're little. They're moving. And especially if you're scared. I know she said she wasn't scared, but she has a plan. She knows what she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's going to keep going.
Right.
She's going to follow through with her plan. Like she said, she didn't quite know yet to just sit there and wait. So she's going. That's what she thinks is my best option.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going.
And a lot of the stories that I listened to him talk about, you know, he would say, you know, this would be hard for an adult to do, and he does talk about missing adults as well quite a bit. And I'm going to talk about some. But the point is that honestly, I mean, I hiked up a mountain recently. Your children would have done better at it than I did.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard for us.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate children too much, because they're crazy little fuckers.
And they're very, very smart. Kids are much, much, much smarter than people
give them credit.
Give them credit for. Exactly. I just wonder how much she knew about forest safety.
Yeah.
I don't know if she talked about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to ask her if she comes
Yeah,
on.
we will. Because first of all, if she did know about it, if she was taught about it, great job.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, if she didn't know anything about it and her instincts were like that,
amazing.
So
this little girl helped her go through some rough terrain.
Yeah, her imaginary friend.
Yes. Alicia helped her get down from this high point she was at. That sounds pretty dangerous.
And she said it was like the only safe way down, and this
imaginary friend showed it to her. Of course, when she's found, she tells people that an imaginary friend helped her while she was lost. From there, people are like, it's a ghost, it's a
alien,
it's a guardian angel. And she doesn't say that that's not true, but she says she's always described it as an imaginary friend. She did say like psychological. And we talked about this, about how children in stressful, scary situations, they do and can develop these imaginary friends as a coping mechanism to help them, guide them in some way. It's some sort of comfort. I believe that it was an imaginary friend, and I think it was just her subconscious. Yeah, exactly. Which is so cool, though.
It's very cool.
That little girl, Alicia, that helped her down. If this is the case, that little girl that helped her, that was her helping herself. And that's just fucking cool.
And could have been a ghost.
Could have been. Yeah.
I think her explaining it as an imaginary friend and describing it as that is exactly what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because research tells us that kids, this does happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just kids, adults too.
Yeah. I've heard stories about people who will like get into a car accident and like the car is so crushed and they are outside of the car and they're asked how they got out. And they're like, oh, this person helped me.
Right.
But the person was never there or whatever. Was that them helping themselves or was, I don't know.
Right.
People are capable of amazing things though.
Yeah. I think in situations like this, it makes me wonder, like her imaginary friend telling her to do these things safely and all this. I think she knew this stuff in the back of her head, but it was her imaginary friend. Yeah. I think was her subconscious. Yeah. It's more comforting because it's not her just guessing. I think imaginary friend is the best way to describe that. Maybe it was a ghost. We don't know. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But
to me, very much drives on the point of we can't just make assumptions that something is paranormal. We need to exhaust all other options before we look into that when it comes to missing people or deceased people.
Yeah.
Or
in this situation, she's found, she's safe, she's well. That's what she says it is. Leave it.
Right.
Just leave it alone.
She does say it could have been something else. She doesn't know.
She's not ruling it out.
Yeah, but she's always described it as an imaginary friend. I do understand that there's like a bit of speculation and stuff, but like she says, a lot of people embellish it or use her case, I guess, as proof of the point they're trying to make. If they're trying to make the point that like, ooh, ghosts can help
They
you.
will save you when you're in a
Yeah,
bad.
then they're going to take her story and they're going to say, here's an example. Instead of being like, she described it as an imaginary, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but it could have been. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyways, we're hoping to have her on, and that was kind of a short story, but it's really interesting.
Very interesting.
And yeah, so I'm going to tell you about some more cases. Also, we are going to link Haley's TikTok and YouTube, so make sure you go follow her for more details. Yeah. I do want to talk about the criteria that David Paulides considers before looking into a case, because he does automatically rule some out. But again, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I've already shared my opinions, but whatever. Okay. So anyways, this is his criteria, that there's been a point of separation. So if you and I go hiking together and all of a sudden I have a stomach ache and I'm like, I'm going to go wait in the car, point of separation. Time of disappearance, I forget what the time was. Whoops. It's during the day that the person goes missing. People are often found in boulder fields.
Interesting. Really?
Boulder fields, in or near water. The strange thing is, a lot of times with people who have been found in water, the cause of death might not have been drowning.
Yeah.
But there's often a weather event that happens during or after that kind of prevents the search from being successful.
Huh.
A lot of the people have a disability or illness that is not obvious. A really big one that he pays attention to is that they'll send out search dogs, like canines, and the dogs can't pick up on a scent.
Okay.
Often these are people found in areas previously searched, sometimes dozens of times.
Huh.
Often they have missing articles of clothing. So this, like, obviously when I hear that, I'm like, human predator. But I mean, there are some weird ones where it's just their socks and their shoes. And then there were also like cases where people's feet were showing up on shore.
Blech.
Just their feet. Did you hear about that?
No.
Well, anyways, that's really weird. But anyway, a lot of times if they are found and they've passed away, we're unable to determine the cause of death.
Right.
And the other thing is geographical clusters. These are people who are going missing in remote areas. And it'll be like, okay, in this cluster over the past 100, 200, however many years, thousands of years, who knows? But all these people have gone missing. There's also often a lack of evidence in regards to a struggle or disturbance at the scene of disappearance. Another common theme with these missing people is that their names are being called, but they're not responding despite being nearby.
Right.
And this is another really weird one. A lot of the people who have gone missing in national forests are of German descent.
No, really?
Yeah. And there is specifically a list of missing German physicists that have gone missing at different times, which reminds me of a story. Oh, what was his name? Something Granger. Anyways, this brilliant guy, he could build anything. He was great at science, and he started telling people who were close to him, aliens are going to be coming to pick me up, and I'm going with them, and I'm going to be gone for light years. You're never going to see me again. And then he went missing. But it was like everyone felt like he was not suicidal. Everyone felt like he was not psychologically unwell.
Yeah.
And it was just a very strange situation.
That is strange.
Granger Taylor. I think that was his name.
If someone said that to me, I would just assume that they were just like saying that, and then they were just sick and tired of everybody just running away. That's what I would do that. I'd be like, hey, aliens are coming to get me, and then I'd fuck off to Mexico.
Well, now we know where to look for Jess if she says aliens are coming.
I mean, obviously I know that didn't happen in this thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
But anyways, that's another story for another time. So I just want to say, like, most of the stories that David Paulides has talked about, I will not be talking about. This is not a true crime podcast. We cannot rule out crime. We cannot rule out, I don't know. And he says he can rule those things out. I am not a scientist. I am not a police officer. I am not a part of a missing persons unit. I don't know, but I
feel like also just morally you can't rule everything out.
Yeah.
That's just a respect thing, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of those stories gave me a pit in my stomach. So the first story that I'm going to talk about is really interesting. It happened in the 1880s. The girl went missing in a national forest and she was with her father. She went missing. 2 hunters came across her father and started helping him search. They were calling her name. She was nowhere to be found. The next day, they're still searching, they hear a little girl's muffled voice. The voice is coming from where the river is. Okay. So they start approaching the river. When they're approaching the river, they hear a big splash. And when they're able to see the area, they see a huge dark figure jumping into the river and swimming to the other side.
Okay.
The girl is standing on a log and she is missing certain items of clothing. So this is information that is retrieved from the father about her being missing. Her father asks her, "Where's your hat?" And she says, "The wolf ate it." He says, "Where are your gloves?" And she says, "The wolf ate it." Her father asks, "Why didn't you call for me or say something when we called?" And she says, "He wouldn't let me." Her father then asks, "Did you get anything to eat?" And she says, "The wolf brought me berries in its hand."
I would immediately panic. I would like be sticking my fingers down my daughter's throat to make her throw up.
Well, so apparently there are quite a few stories of children being taken by what's explained as bears, and the bears allegedly like cuddling the child and feeding them. In this particular case, the girl says a giant wolf, potentially dog man, if we're thinking cryptids.
I was
or
thinking,
a werewolf.
I was
guess.
instantly, I'm
Bigfoot. Yeah. Okay. So that's a lot of like the speculation.
I hear about Bigfoots being mean.
Yeah.
Like we said this the other day, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just so paranoid. And did someone dress up as something and take the child? You know what I mean?
I would like I said earlier, naturally, when it comes to children, I will automatically assume that it is a person.
Yeah.
I mean, paranormal things happen to kids, but most of the time you hear about, kids living in a haunted house or, things like that, not necessarily being taken by some entity of some sort.
And I mean, a lot of times the, I guess, argument how this seems like it could be supernatural is, well, it was so remote and like it was a very short period of separation. Like it happened so quick. How could someone have been out there at the right time?
That's true.
But
that is true.
They could be. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't rule it out.
You can't rule anything out.
No, I don't think you can. But anyways, moving on. So that is really an interesting one.
Right.
So this next one is about a girl named Lillian Carney. She went missing August 8th of 1897. She was 6 years old. She went missing at around noon, and she was 15 miles west of the Canadian border in Maine. The area was surrounded by lakes, rivers, ponds, and she was with her parents blueberry picking. And apparently that's also a really common theme of these people going missing is like they're berry picking. Her parents said like all of a sudden they looked 1 minute and then they looked again. She was gone. So by the next morning, there were 200 searchers looking for her.
Yeah.
These searchers were calling out her name and getting no response. By Tuesday morning, there were 300 searchers. This had been 2 nights.
She went missing on a Saturday or a Sunday?
Sunday. But so it's Tuesday, there's 300 searchers. That morning at around 10 a.m., a man finds her 2 to 3 miles away from where she had vanished. This is the weird thing about this. This is just weird, and I have no idea what it could be. Lillian didn't say much about what happened, but she did say, "The sun shined the whole time I was in the woods." But she had been gone for 46 hours, and in that 46 hours, there had been 2 nights. I mean, could this just be another imagination thing to keep the child comforted, or was it something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's very strange.
That is very, very strange. This kind of stuff makes me look so sad.
Well, she's found. She's
I know,
okay.
but still, because all I imagine is I think about like the parents and how they must have felt. Yes, the child's terrified and I might feel bad for that. But like these parents not knowing where their kid is, knowing that their child is terrified.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And lost, and they're just probably calling out for you and missing.
I know. I know.
I don't like it. I don't either. It makes me sad.
But okay. And also this actually brings me back what you're saying to Haley Zega, who we were talking about. And when we were watching her videos, she was like, I'm a cautionary tale. Like wear bright colors and put your kids in bright colors and tell them if you get lost, sit down, don't move. We'll come find you.
Just in general, in the woods.
Wear a bright color.
Wear a vest, get a hunting vest.
Yeah. And for yourself too.
I think everybody who goes into the bush at any point should have stuff like that. And not only stuff like that, but the ribbon, the bright orange ribbon, you tie it to trees, you keep going. And then the one that you just did is just barely visible. Then you put another one.
Right.
And you keep always, especially if you're going somewhere you're not familiar.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Very true.
Yeah. And they're cheap.
Be safe.
Yeah. And get a compass and know how to read a compass.
But what does it matter?
Well, because if you know what direction,
I guess that's true. Okay, that was a dumb question. Wow. Let's pretend I didn't say that. Okay. The next one is about a missing 19-year-old girl. There's not much detail about this, and I don't know what year it was from. So I wish I knew that. But I just really like this one because it reminds me of fairies. We all know how I feel about fairies. Yes, we do feel really good about them. So anyways, 19 years old. She didn't return home for supper. Search parties were sent out. And later, she turns up at home crying and saying she was climbing a mound or a hill. So these are commonly called fairy forts and often believed to be inhabited by the fae.
Right.
She was trying to leave and go back home, but felt her body jerk physically and was now suddenly going in the opposite direction of home. She was unsure of how. And when she tried to leave again, to go back home, she felt like there was almost like an invisible barrier stopping her. So she followed the barrier as darkness fell. There were people out searching for her. She could hear them and see them, but they couldn't hear her or see her. That's fucking weird. Eventually, the barrier seemed to lift and she was able to make her way home. Why are you smiling like that? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking of those bathrooms where it's all mirrors. So that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, interesting.
Because
That's
it's like a double-sided. From the inside, you can see people.
Right.
But from the outside, it's...
Or like a
Also-
interrogation room.
I also very briefly thought of, that scene in Cabin in the Woods when that guy, he's like, I'm going to ride my bike over this canyon to go save us, like his motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
And then he does, and then
And
he
it just
hits
goes-
that fucking barrier.
Right.
Just like a
Yeah.
fly in the window.
Yeah.
And then he falls.
I really like that movie, and it's a really unpopular opinion. I feel like
I like that movie.
I love
We
that
just watched it not long ago.
Oh,
and
really?
every time I watch that movie, when that scene happens, I can't help but laugh.
I love the stoner in that movie.
Me too.
He's so funny.
This freaking travel love.
Yes.
I love.
So good.
Yeah.
Also, when I was listening to some of these stories, and I even watched a documentary that he did, there was this woman, and I just thought this was so interesting. This is really short, but she had gone hunting. Her and her husband were hunters, and she was going hunting. She was up in her tree stand. Where the forest was, it was a small town, so it was also pretty close to the high school. And in the field of the high school, there was band practice happening. I think she might have said she could hear it from where she was. And I believe it was her husband's nephew that was in band as well. So he is out in the field, she's out in the forest hunting. She saw what she described as something massive, super high up in the tree, and is like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Bigfoot.
No, but this is so interesting to me. It was transparent, but like
you could still see.
yes,
the...
right. Yeah, like, if you look at a cup, that's you
Yeah.
can, right? So it was this huge transparent thing that went from one tree to another.
Oh,
Yeah.
weird.
At the same time, because her and her husband found this out, I think that night or the next day, because his nephew emailed him and said they were all out on the field at band practice. All of them saw a craft, a UFO, including
yeah.
their teacher.
I've heard, don't know how accurate it is, but UFOs can do that. Certain aliens and UFO. There's like a theory that they can make themselves
Invisible. There's also theories that like Bigfoot's an alien or from a different dimension, or like he's such a good hider. Can he make himself invisible? That would make sense as to why we've never found Bigfoot for those who believe in Bigfoot. If he's a chameleon.
That's true. I mean, I feel like no, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to rule it out. Anyways, I just thought that was
I
really
always
weird.
used to hope that I'd see a Bigfoot when I was hunting. Every time I've ever been in the bush, still, I always sit there. It's so quiet. And then you hear something and you're hoping it's either like a deer or Bigfoot.
Apparently, they smell really, really bad.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were hunting and you saw Bigfoot and you shot it by accident. I wonder if that would be like a bad, or what conservation would think about that. I wonder if
Really shut you up.
I wonder if conservation would like have a problem with that, or if they'd be like, "Wow, this is a strange creature.
Well, I mean,
Good for you."
I guess it depends. If you're like
Trophy.
out bear hunting and you thought it was a bear and you had a tag for a bear and you're like, sorry, thought this was a fucking bear. Like, I mean, what are they going to do? Arrest you? That's fucking crazy.
I mean, but then again, if you see a Bigfoot, you shoot it. Even if you are just hunting deer, it looks like it's a terrifying monster.
But I feel like a bear
My teeth are
looks like a terrifying monster to some as well. And like, let's not just kill things because they look scary. I'm just saying.
Well, that thing, maybe if it's 13 feet tall,
But from what I hear, Bigfoot sounds like a nice guy.
I know, but
I'm just saying,
yeah.
don't let your fear take over you. If you have a gun, don't shoot Bigfoot.
Well, yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I just wonder what conservation.
But this conversation actually reminded me of two things, other things that this David Pilates guy was saying.
Yeah.
So one of the things is that Canada, the RCMP, have a completely different protocol to follow when people report UFOs or aliens.
Really?
They have to immediately send that report to this other branch people. They don't even know who it is.
Okay.
But they have to send it. It's taken seriously. In the States, they're like, sure. They don't take it seriously.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, like I'm not up to date on my alien stories, but I hear about more of those, aliens, I was abducted, we find out it's bullshit. Or like,
I feel like, yes, there are some stories that have been famous and some that have been, exposed as a hoax or whatever. But I also feel like there are so, stop looking at my cicada. There are so many accounts of people experiencing aliens or UFOs. Not all of these people are lying. And
no, I don't.
And a lot of them seem very genuine in their accounts.
I think that too. It's just that I think there's a lot of people who also want to see things so badly.
Yeah.
And they go looking for it. And,
they see
when you want to see something,
right?
When you really want to see something, you're going to.
Well, I mean, yeah, because sometimes there are even like people who have been near army bases or something and it winds up being debunked. They're like, hey, I think I saw this. And then, okay, no, they figure out it's this flying drone that the army base sent out or something like that. So that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But some people share some really strange stories like this last one I'm going to share with you. And I believe this guy, I'm just saying.
Okay.
So this happened in 1974, October of 1974. It's a man named Carl Higdon. And I want to say right off the bat that Carl Higdon had tuberculosis and kidney stones. He was elk hunting. Also, this is another really common thing is it's people who are elk hunting who go missing. A lot of people who are elk hunting. And there's also a lot of reports of people seeing crafts taking elk, like beaming elk up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big animal, but not that big.
Well,
bigger than a deer, smaller than a moose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It'll probably feed a couple tall grays.
Yeah. More than a couple.
Or some short greens.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so he's elk hunting in Medicine Bow National Forest, Wyoming, an area he was very familiar with. He actually usually would go hunting with his wife, but this was the one-off time that he didn't. And he went after work. He took his work truck. He was out walking and he came across some elk that were completely still, like strangely still. But he raised his rifle and fired, and the bullet did something very strange.
Okay.
It slowed down in midair and then fell to the ground like it hit something invisible.
Did he go pick the bullet up? Did it look like it had made impact?
Yes. So later forensics on the bullet showed that it did hit something.
Interesting.
But it was unclear what.
Force field.
So it gets way weirder. Like, this is fucking crazy.
Okay.
Carl then saw a strange humanoid figure. And I'm going to describe what he looks like. But again, we always say, go look at our Instagram because we post whatever pictures we can on there. Or if you're watching this in video form, the picture should be here. But this is the description. Humanoid figure that was about 6 feet tall, thin, had a shiny black jumpsuit and belt, thin straw-like hair, and a slit for a mouth. He had yellowish skin, no ears, and small eyes. The humanoid didn't have hands, but what looked like a power drill instead of a hand on his right arm.
Alien, for sure. That's his jumpsuit. Very nice. Oh, its hand is a pointy little poke.
Yeah, that's the drill that you described.
Cute outfit.
Anyways, she likes the way he dressed. Okay, so the humanoid telepathically introduced himself to Carl as also one and asked Carl, "How are you doing?" Carl replied, "Pretty good." The humanoid asked if Carl was hungry, and through the air, sent a small cellophane package towards Carl, floating through the air, and inside it had 4 pills.
Okay.
Carl took one, even though he says he normally wouldn't even like take Advil or aspirin or
literally.
Tylenol, but he was like, okay.
Alien plug.
Yeah. So the humanoid then invited Carl onto his craft. Carl could see the craft, and it was a transparent cube. Same thing with the previous story. Like, he could see that there was something there, like a cup, like you can see through it. He could see the trees behind the cube. And he said that it looked windowless, doorless, and so small that Carl didn't think that he would fit inside.
Oh, interesting.
But he remembered shrugging his shoulders, and the next thing he knew, he was inside. And once inside, he realized it was much bigger.
Cool.
The elk that he had seen that were still
Yeah.
were inside the craft as well.
Oh,
So-
that's why they were still.
Yeah.
They were in it.
And clearly, like, I mean, his
And-
bullet hit the craft. That's
Cool.
the invisible barrier.
Neat. Like that.
And it looked like these elk were in a containment area, from what Carl could tell.
Mm.
Then he was transported to another planet, which took less than a minute, but he was told it was 163,000 light years away.
And this alien
Yes,
spoke English.
perfect English.
Or maybe they speak like some weird language, but they have this power that makes you.
Understand it?
It's like in The Good Place.
Oh,
How
yeah.
they say they're all talking different language,
Right.
but it's translating
Right.
to perfect whatever it is that you speak.
Right. Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I've only seen like a couple episodes of that show, and I was just saying I kind of want to watch
I
it.
just rewatched it.
Oh, really?
I finished rewatching it like 2 weeks.
It's funny, right?
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Kirsten Bell's
I love her,
hilarious in
yeah.
there.
So on this other planet, they arrive at a tower where there were more humanoids. He said that he saw multiple. One looked to be a middle-aged man. There was one that looked like a young girl, a couple of teenage girls, and a teenage boy.
Interesting.
Mhm. He said he floated out of the craft into the tower and up an elevator,
Wow.
where humanoid figures then examined him by sending him behind a screen that came out of the wall. Then they told Carl that he was unsuitable for their needs, and he suspected that this was because he had had a vasectomy. He was then told by the humanoid, also the original,
OG.
that his kind would explore Earth, find and take different animals back from land and water to breed for food, because their planet didn't have
animals.
things that could survive like that.
Right. Makes sense.
He went back into the craft with Osso,
Mhm.
who floated his pills back to himself and then returned Carl's rifle to him. Suddenly, Carl was stumbling back to his truck and was later found incoherent in his truck by rescuers just before midnight. Now, here's some of the really strange things about this story, and that give it a little bit of potential validity. So the truck was not in the same place where Carl had originally parked. It was actually 3 miles away and was in very rugged terrain where the truck shouldn't have been able to drive to. It was 2-wheel drive. He was brought to Carbon County Memorial Hospital, where he was examined. And because he was disoriented and extremely sensitive to light, he did not remember his name at first and did not immediately recognize his wife, Marjorie. He slowly started to regain his memory. I do believe that most of the details of the story he did get through hypnosis, but it was very short. Like, it wasn't like years later. It was very shortly after the event.
Wow.
But this is the strangest part of this encounter. During his medical exam after this happened, it was discovered that he no longer had visible tuberculosis scars on his lungs, which he had before.
Okay.
And he no longer had kidney stones, which he had before. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He also did pass 2 polygraph tests about the incident. So, I mean, clearly I've seen him talk about
what
it.
he's saying.
Yeah, he did pass away in 2022 from COVID, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, but really interesting one. And he's like, I don't care if people believe me or not. This is what happened. I want people to know so that they're aware.
Sounds like something Dad would say.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a really crazy one. I've talked to you about CE5, Close Encounters 5. It's a documentary. And Dr. Greer talks about like contacting aliens and like meditating out in the middle of nowhere and all that stuff. He told this one story of him and this group of people who do this. They go out in the middle of nowhere and meditate and try to see aliens, and they have some really strange footage.
Right. Yes.
and strange pictures. But one of the men, it's been a long time since I've seen this documentary, and I didn't think I was going to talk about this today, so I didn't check. But I can't remember if it was his eyes or his ears. He either needed hearing aids or glasses. And the day after they had this encounter and they had pictures of weird lights happening around their circle, he no longer needed his glasses or needed his hearing aids.
Crazy.
I feel like it was hearing aids. I feel like he was like really close to being deaf and could suddenly just hear everything.
We should send Mom over there.
Yeah, maybe it was glasses though. I can't remember. But isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Maybe the aliens are like, you be nice to us and we'll do you solid.
Yeah, maybe. This is the thing. There are some stories about aliens abducting people and it's not good. Like the people come back and they're like, this was fucked up. This was awful. These awful things happened to me. It was terrible. And there's, of course, some stories that are like, it was fine. Nothing really happened. I don't know what happened, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of the reports or a lot of things seem to be like the aliens say that we're too violent on this planet and we don't care about our environment. So they're like, we're not going to fuck with you because you guys suck. There's also a lot of stories of them caring about our future and caring about the future of Earth and being these good, not higher power, but they've unlocked more of the 10% of the brain, like they can telepathically tell you things. So
and they can read your brain, read your mind. That's why you wear those hats.
You have little tinfoil ones. Insert from Signs.
I just watched that movie the other day.
So good. Such a classic.
Arthur had never seen it.
Are you fucking serious?
And he said he hated it. He was like, oh, this is so boring.
This is a really fucked up way to tell me that you're getting a divorce.
I know.
Anyways, we took a break.
Snack break.
Yeah. We're going to finish out this episode with a follower story. So take it away.
All right. So we have one here from Anonymous. So basically, my camp counselor used to live in Arizona. And so she goes back to visit her friends and family every year. One year, her and her friends used a Ouija board. And so they greeted the spirit, talked with it, the usual stuff. But then they wanted to say goodbye. The spirit responded with no.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah. So they forcefully made the spirit say goodbye. Does that mean they put the...
Yeah, I'm assuming they forcefully put the planchette on goodbye.
Okay. And when they did that, since they were outside, it started pouring.
Ooh.
Like thunderstorm level of rain. And so they all ran back to the house and hid. But the next day, they all started smelling these weird smells, almost like something was rotting.
Oh.
So they go and tell one of her friend's older siblings, and the sibling tells them they've invited an angry and vengeful spirit into their house. So they go and perform a cleansing of the house and everyone involved. And so far to this day, nothing has ever happened.
But that is interesting because I have heard of really bad entities having like a foul smell.
Really?
Yeah. So that's really interesting.
That is interesting. And the fact that, could it be a coincidence that it started raining? Sure.
Yes.
But I'm going to say no.
Well, we don't know, but it is an interesting story.
It is so interesting. That's funny. Well, I'm glad that your friend cleansed the house, cleansed herself and her friends, and nothing's happened since.
Yeah.
That is another cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Don't force the entities to talk to you.
I don't think they force the entity to talk to them.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. So
maybe
you don't.
Go goodbye.
Oh, right. So maybe don't play with Ouija board.
Well,
I don't know. Don't force it to do something it doesn't want to do.
I don't know.
I don't know what to say.
I'm okay with Ouija boards. So
yeah,
I don't know what to say because I think I heard someone talking about this recently. If you're afraid of it, don't do it. If you're worried about it, don't do it.
I don't do it.
I personally am not worried.
I know. I touched it the other day. It was the first time I've ever touched, and just the corner too, and I felt weird.
Yeah, I was kind of actually thinking to myself, I was wondering if you were going to be thinking about it at night.
I was thinking about it. I was even thinking about it yesterday too.
When you heard the footsteps.
I don't know. It just
creeps you out.
Dad always kind of was like, don't ever play with a Ouija board. Don't ever bring it into the house.
Yeah.
And it just scared me enough to be like, yeah, you're right. And also, I don't want to open a portal. I don't want to invite something scary to come. Might be something mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Well, I won't.
How do you know? What if you did?
I'm very strong-willed. I won't.
Huh.
Nothing is welcome unless I say it's welcome.
Oh, that's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
That's probably how it works.
Remember that episode when we were talking about people knocking on your door and we're like, don't knock on my door. Don't come to my house.
Yeah.
You're not welcome.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You'll know if you're welcome.
Fair enough. We're stronger than any spirit anyway. We're the ones who are alive. They could throw knives at us and shit, break light bulbs and the shards can attack, stuff like that. But we could get hurt.
Well, we could potentially be.
Yeah, oft. But like emotionally, we win.
We're good. We're fine. We got our shit together ish, sort of.
Mostly.
Not really.
Sometimes.
But we're good. You're not coming home with me unless I say you're coming home with me. They used to always say that on TikTok. Someone would be on TikTok and they found like a nice rock or like and something nice at a thrift store or whatever. And they're like, you're coming home with me.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not coming home with me.
I'm just going to start putting salt by all my doors and windows.
Yeah, there you go.
And there you go.
Sage your house, but not with white sage. Or
I've never saged before. I've been in an apartment with someone who saged and it gave me a headache.
Well,
Like, I don't know if that's normal or if it's just because like I am sensitive to smoke and stuff.
I think
so that could be why.
You gotta make sure you open all your windows, open all your doors.
Oh, they're supposed to be open while you're doing that.
Yeah, you're like all of this energy that like well, anything that's negative.
Get out. Oh, maybe that's why my head hurt so bad because she didn't open anything. She was walking around the apartment like that.
Yeah, that would hurt my head too.
Oh,
yeah,
it was her fault.
You fucked up. Who was it, Adele?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just figured it was Adele.
It was actually. That's so funny.
Adele, you fucked up. Anyways, that's it for this one. Goodbye. Au revoir.
Apito.
Arrivederci. Sayonara. Au revoir. What is it? Au revoir. Bonsoir. No. Bien soir. Au revoir. Bien soir. How many ways can I say goodbye? You don't know that song?
No.